Hello everyone, and welcome to another episode of my Torbjorn map guides. Today we're on Volskaya Industries, and we're going to be going over a couple of spots, and for the first time I've actually got gameplay of one of these spots in motion. So if you stick around till the end of the episode, that'll be there. So yeah, hang around for that if you want to see how these work in an actual game. Once again, I'll have some aerial images that flash up on screen after each section. There'll be a link to an imgur album of those, so you can check them out in your own time. And yeah, we'll start straight away. Alright Josh, you can stop! So we're going to get the obvious spot out of the way first. You've often seen people using this where they just place a turret in this room, and I mean, it's a good spot. It's going to cover most of the point, and it's pretty well covered, and you've got a health pack right there. There's not that much more to say about it, and you see it in like every game on Volskaya. So yeah, that's that. So this next spot's up on the balcony over here, and there are 3 windows to pick from. This window probably isn't going to be that great. Well, I mean, it could be useful for covering this section here, but it's not going to get a lot of the point. This window here, I think, is the best one, because if you place it, it just can't be peeked from down there, and it covers the widest range, and I wouldn't recommend using this spot here, because people standing over there can shoot at it. As you can see, if someone's got their back all the way against there, the turret won't actually shoot at them, so it's probably a good idea to place it in the middle window and shuffle it over to the left a little bit. It'll cover a fair amount of the point and won't be able to be shot from there, and it'll give your team a nice bit of extra cover. So placing a turret here is one of my personal favourites, because the amount of snow at the base actually gives it cover, which means that it's a lot harder to shoot because the bottom is covered by the snow. It still covers most of the point, as Josh is going to demonstrate, but it does have that little extra bit of cover that should make its survivability increased by a little tiny bit. It'll also cover down this whole flank here, as well as anybody trying to flank behind. So Junkrat is probably one of Torbjorn's biggest worries, because he can skim bombs along the ground and round corners and stuff and get the turrets out of order very easily. And I found that if you place a turret on this coil of yellow tubing, clearly very important to the Volskaya company, but if you place it on the coil of yellow tubing, it's raised from the ground and it's still going to cover the same area. So if there's a Junkrat on the enemy team, it's going to be a lot harder for him to shoot it, because the arc of his bombs, he'll have to get like well and truly close up in order to shoot at it. If there are Junkrats on the other team, or maybe even a Zaya who's obsessed with their right click, try out this spot because it'll make it a lot harder for them to shoot it down. If you're standing above it, you can easily peek the turret, which is probably its only problem. So just be aware of that, and you might want to keep the top covered. So at the start of a game, now that your turrets no longer add to their ultimate charge, it's actually a very good idea to place some temporary turrets down in a place that can get you as much of your charge as possible. I found a great spot was right behind this tire here. When the attackers come through their choke point, and even if they head into this room, the turret's going to be able to snipe them just over the tires. You'll be able to get a good bit of easy damage, and it'll also distract them a fair amount. I suggest that if you have this turret up, you build it at the start of a game, and then you're ready to build it somewhere else. So don't try and babysit this turret and keep it alive, just be ready to build another turret while you have this one working. That's all the spots that I found for the first point. There'll be a couple of aerial images up on screen while we prepare for the next point. Yeah, we'll see you over there. So once again, we're going to start the last point with the easiest and most average spots possible. Turret down here, you've probably seen it in every game that there's a Torbjorn, blah blah blah. It's a good spot, nicely covered, covers the whole point except if you're a midget like Torbjorn and you're standing behind here. But it'll do a good job of covering the point while remaining pretty well hidden. Yeah, there's not much to it. Let's jump into the more interesting ones. One of my favourite spots on the last point of this map is to kind of push yourself into this little corner and place a turret down. It's incredibly well hidden, and it'll cover a lot of the main point. Its main advantage is that it's completely closed in, so anybody that wants to shoot it is going to have to poke their head in, and there's no like multi-directional ways for people to shoot at it. So it means that it'll always be focused on one person and it can't get distracted with others. If you die and your turret goes down, it's actually quite easy to get back there to set one up without putting yourself in the way of danger. You can actually run around this spawn room and drop right back down to place another one. So its range is actually about 90% of the point. It won't cover this corner. Unfortunately, if you stand behind this pillar, you'll actually be covered from it as well. So that's something important just to remember. So you've probably seen this also before, and this is a lot like on Route 66, but you can just pop a turret down on one of these moving platforms, and it'll do a decent job at damaging the enemies. It'll constantly cover a different and changing area of attack, and I like to stand up here, so when a platform comes around, you can hop on it, place a turret, you can just about get it leveled up, then you can hop off onto this platform again, and then if your turret gets destroyed, it's alright, because when the next platform comes around, you place another one, and do the same thing over and over and over again, and it'll constantly send the enemy team a bombardment of turrets, and it'll be sure to slow them down a fair bit. That's all for the last point. There'll be a couple of aerial images up on screen, and we'll get into some maze spots. Or spot, I think there's only one. Yep, we'll see you in a bit. So there's really only one maze spot, and you probably guessed it, but wall me up, Josh. I find that if you place a turret behind this little air conditioning bit, why would they need air conditioning in this icy wasteland? But that's beside the point. Place the turret down here. I like to put it behind here because it keeps it protected from people on this side. They probably won't even know that there's a turret here until they actually start to run around. So it'll do a fair bit of damage on the point while remaining pretty well hidden from the people on the other side. So that's a good plus side. That's pretty much it for this episode. If you have any questions, feel free to leave them down in the comment section below. Once again, you can check out the aerial images in the description. I'm going to leave you with a bit of gameplay from a Volskaya game that I had earlier today using one of these spots, so I hope you enjoy that. And that's pretty much it for this video, and I'll see you all next time. See ya!
Somebody